Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another exciting Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants hangout. My name is Joe Grabowski. I'll be your host for today. For those who don't know, Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants is all about bringing science, adventure, exploration, and conservation in the classrooms across North America and hopefully beyond. Really excited about our hangout today. We've got classrooms joining us in Canada and the United States. Very excited to introduce Ben Kneppers today. So Ben is originally from Cape Cod. He now lives in a small coastal community in Concepcion in southern Chile. He's the founder of Bureo, an exciting company transforming discarded fishing nets into recycled products. He's a mechanical engineer and an environmental who was working for the Chilean government industry prior to launching Bureo with his friends Kevin and David. He's decided to stay there for the time being and run their groundbreaking Net Positiva initiative. So Ben's going to more about that today. Ben, it's great to have you joining us from Chile today.
It's my pleasure. You guys can see and hear me okay?
Let's see, guys. I'm going to turn on the mics. Can you guys hear Ben okay? All right.
All right.
Okay, so Ben, how long have you been in Chile? How long have you been doing your thing down there?
We've been working on this for over 3 years now, where it was really just something that we started with an idea, and now it's our life's work.
All right, and that's a theme we're definitely going to touch on today, is how a big idea can promote change and can lead to changes in your life as well. So I know you have a little presentation prepared to give us a little bit of the story behind what you do.
Great. So I'll get started right into it, hitting share screen. And I've got my presentation up. Everyone can see that?
I can see it, classes. Thumbs up if you can see it on your screen. Beautiful. We're good.
All right. So, hello everybody from Chile. I'm calling this from South America. Although I'm from the United States, I've been living here for the past several years, and I'm here to tell you a bit of a story about a project I started with a few friends. And really what I want to share with you, how we took the education and all the learnings we had from school and combine it with our passion for the ocean to take just an idea that we had and made it a reality, and a reality that's now becoming the work of our life. We're making a living off of this and also doing it in a way that's helping the environment and our oceans. So really what this is about is our company called Bureo. So it all started with my two friends, David Stover and Kevin Ahern. We are all from the United States, from New York, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. We all had mechanical engineering degrees we got in universities in the United States, where we got a really great background in math and science and physics. And that took us on to our careers, where I was working, teaching companies about reducing their impact on the environment. David was working with businesses on how to improve their finances, and Kevin was designing products and technical things for the government, like submarines and airplanes. And funny enough, although we're all from the United States, the first time the three of us met was actually on the other side of the world in Australia. And the way we met was our love for the ocean. We loved using our free time to spend it at the ocean. And we would love to surf and snorkel and scuba dive and experience the ocean as much as we could. And through all of our travels, the big problem we came across was this problem of plastic pollution. I'm sure that you guys have seen this too in your own communities. Unfortunately, it's a problem all around the world. Every year, we're getting 8 million tons of plastic entering our oceans. It's a problem because it's stuff that doesn't fit with the way the oceans work. It's cluttering it just like it's cluttering anything else. And if we continue going this way, we're going to have more plastic in the ocean than actually fish by the year 2050. And what do you think out of all that stuff is actually the most harmful form of plastic pollution in the ocean? I was pretty surprised to find out this myself, but actually the most harmful form is fishing nets. Fishing nets are actually also made from plastic. And when they break, when they get left at sea, they can make a big source of plastic pollution that actually makes up 10% of the plastic pollution in our ocean today. And as you can sadly see in this picture here, its ability to trap marine mammals makes it such a harmful material. But it's not always the fault of the fishermen. We're lucky that in a lot of our communities, we have recycling bins, we have waste bins that are easily available. But for a lot of fishermen, this isn't available to them. So unfortunately, that's why it ends up out at sea. So with this passion we had for the ocean environment and protecting it and keeping all this plastic out of it, with our engineering degrees, our education in math and science and physics, we took that all together to combine it, to see if there was a way we could take our passion and do something good for the world with it. So the idea we had, all we had to start with was just an idea, was to prevent a very harmful form of ocean plastic, these fishing nets, by collecting it and recycling it into new positive products. We could have money that could help support these communities that are facing challenges when it comes to managing their plastic waste, while creating products that can inspire new people to think differently about plastic pollution and see it no longer as a waste, but more opportunities to create more solutions for the world today. And that's where we started in Chile, just with that idea. And with the support from the Chilean government, from World Wildlife Fund, and lots of other organizations, we started a program called Net Positiva, which is Chile's first ever fishing net collection recycling program, where we partner directly with the fishermen to give them those recycling bins, those bins that you have easily available in your communities and hopefully in your schools, where you can recycle your plastic water bottles and other containers. These fishermen can now drop off their old fishing nets for us to recycle. In return, we get this fishing net as a raw material for us to use, where we can make new positive new products, where the money from those products can help support the communities on the coast, all while keeping our oceans cleaner. So how does Net Positiva work? The whole program starts with setting up these collection points. Just like these recycling bins I keep talking about, we set up fishing net recycling bins in the fishing communities. So this one here, you can see we build a wood frame with a large bag inside, and whenever the fishermen have their nets become broken or no longer able to use for fishing, they can drop their nets off in these bins, where we can then allow it to grow into a large amount so that we can collect it for recycling. Next, we collect all the fishing nets from the area. As you can see in this picture, that's a mountain of fishing nets. That's over 15,000 pounds of fishing nets we're standing on in that picture right there. And then with our team of workers, of local workers here in Chile, we can teach them how to make an income out of collecting, cleaning, and sorting these nets so that they can be nice and ready for us to recycle. So this is the cleaning process. We take all of these big fishing nets, we cut them into these small manageable pieces, we hang them in the sunlight, and then we wash them just like you wash your car to get all the little pieces of sand and fish and little anything else out of it, so they're nice and clean, so they're going to be a really good quality material for us to recycle. When those nets are cleaned and dried, we pack them into these large bales, where you can see again, that's 15,000 pounds of fishing nets behind us that now we can go off, that was otherwise could have been polluting the natural. And that's the process that we're at today. We get the nets to a recycling factory in the capital of Chile, in Santiago, where the nets get shredded and brought back to pellets. These pellets are the same form that all plastic starts from when it's being used to make new products. In our case, we can take this, instead of getting the plastic from a non-renewable source, and make it into the same kind of products, but without having the same problems as before, because now we're using it from a source that was preventing a plastic pollution in the ocean environment. And can you guys guess any ideas on what we're making? What was the first product we made from our fishing nets? I don't know if I can switch to video, but I have one here with me that I thought I could show. Is my video on as well, or how do I switch to video?
If you just open up the video so it's on your screen, it should take over.
Video on my screen. Turn that on? No. I'm lost. Oh. Okay. Hello.
No, I just mean, Ben, if you the video is just behind the Hangout screen, so if you bring the video to the front of your screen, we see whatever's on your screen.
The video's behind the Hangout screen. My gosh, I'm lost now.
No, that's okay.
It's okay. Well, anyway, here, I'll just turn the share screen off for a second, and then here we go. This fishing net is now a skateboard deck. That's right. We make skateboards from fishing nets. Now, how can you do that? How can you take something like this fishing net and get it to a skateboard deck? Well, I'm sure you guys must have made waffles before, right? I love a good waffle. So the process is actually, believe it or not, just like making waffles. So just like you have your mold that's in the shape of your waffle, you have your waffle batter that you pour into your waffle mold, and then it gets heated up in the batter with the mold in the shape, and then you get your waffle made. It's the same thing we do with our fishing nets that become recycled into the pellets, and then we heat it up and we put it into the mold. In this case, it's a mold of a nice big skateboard. So with that, we made the first ever skateboard from recycled fishing nets. Every skateboard, we have 30 square feet of recycled fishing net in the board, which is helping us fund the projects in the fishing communities to prevent more waste from entering the ocean, all while keeping our oceans cleaner. But then we realized we have more fishing nets still. We need to do more with it. And everybody said, we love that you're making skateboards, but we don't all skateboard. So the next thing we did, any ideas? Sunglasses. We made the first sunglasses from 100% recycled fishing nets. That same plastic that we're getting from the fishing nets, where we're cleaning, collecting them, cleaning, packing them, recycling them. We can take that same plastic now, and now we make sunglasses out of them. And by doing it, we're making more solutions for this plastic pollution while generating more money for the fishing communities, all while keeping the oceans cleaner. So that's where we're continuing to go today. We still have more fishing nets to manage. So we're making all different kinds of products. We're making office chairs, we're making frisbees, surfboard fins, cell phone cases, because we have more and more fishing nets out there that we need to make a use of. That's allowing us to make these new products, and then by generating these new products, we can make more solutions to clean our oceans. And that's where we're at today. Our goal with Net Positiva is to provide this project to every fishing community in need, because whether we like it or not, fishermen are going to continue to fish. Their fishing nets eventually will be no longer able to be used out at sea, so they need to change them, and by giving them to us, we can create a positive solution for this material by making it into all these new, fun, positive products. And that's where we're leaving you today with this challenge. We want you guys to come up with your own solutions. Maybe not just about the fishing nets, things in your everyday life. What we're talking about is one small piece of the big challenge that we're facing today when it comes to plastic pollution, when it comes to the challenges when we're trying to help protect our environment. There's so many other great ideas that we can come up with together. And that's really what this is all about. So we're putting out a challenge to all of you guys to come up with your own ideas, and the best ideas that you can present to us will be rewarded by getting your very own Bureo skateboards. How cool is that? So I'm here now to start that discussion going, to start getting the ideas flowing and seeing what we can come up with. If you guys have any questions about how we've been doing things, how we've been working and managing our project, and other ideas about what you guys can do in your own way, let's start the discussion.
All right, Ben, thank you so much. Thanks for taking us on that little trip through the start of Bureo. It's absolutely incredible, excuse me, how an idea can start and grow and then just take on a life of its own. And it now sounds like you guys have more fishnet than you know what to do with.
Yeah, unfortunately.
All right. Well, it's not a bad problem because it's out of the ocean. So there's a huge plus there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as Ben mentioned, we are going to start this big idea challenge, and I'm going to put out a newsletter to the Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants community either tonight or tomorrow to kind of outline the challenge a little bit more. But basically, we want you to take a look in your community. Maybe it's a problem specific to your community or maybe global, and come up with solutions. And not just come up with a solution, but come up with a plan for implementing it. So we're going to look for videos, for presentations, whatever medium you want to use. And as Ben said, the top projects that we get in June, we will reward with a skateboard. So look forward to that. The newsletter will come out shortly with more details. But as Ben said, we want to hear some of your ideas. Ben would love some of your questions about Bureo and the like. So let's meet our first classroom. Our first classroom is Mrs. Tishkoff's. They are joining us from Woodbridge, Connecticut. They're a grade 6-7 classroom. Let me turn your microphone on and go ahead.
Right up to the camera, Mikey.
Hey, Mikey.
Hi. Are there any strange items that you've picked up either while like picking up the fishing nets from the sea or while cleaning them?
Very good question. Yes. So I have found the strangest items you can imagine. We do what we call beach cleanups. I'm curious, I'm sure some of you have participated in beach cleanups before. But what we do is we go around and we pick up all the litter we can find on the beaches in the fishing communities that we work in, or even in the United States, wherever we are. And through that, we can find some of the strangest stuff you can imagine, from little Lego toys to actual large items like a large industrial bin or containers. And unfortunately, something that I face a lot of the times is when I provide these large bins to drop off the fishing nets in the community, I find a lot of other stuff that they drop off in the community in these bins too. And sometimes it can end up being a lot of garbage, other types of garbage. But the way that we look at it always is it's better that it's ending up here in these large bins than out in the ocean. So I would have to say, if I would have to pick the strangest, most interesting item, was when I was in Easter Island. It's an island off of the coast of Chile. It's actually the most remote island in the world. To get there, you have to go on an airplane for 5 hours is the closest way to get there. And when I was there in the middle of the ocean, I could still find plastic washing up on the ocean. And I actually, believe it or not, think of the amount of travel these items. I found a teeny tiny little jacket, a little plastic jacket from a Lego character that was on the beach when I finally arrived after traveling for 5 hours on an airplane. You find that washing up on the beach. I couldn't believe it.
All right, awesome question. We're going to grab another one from Connecticut, another question. But while the classrooms are waiting for their turn, maybe at the end we'll turn the discussion to any ideas that you might have for a project in your community. So start brainstorming a little bit, because we'll put you on the spot a little to hear some ideas that just come to the top of your mind during the hangout. So back to Connecticut for one more.
Nice. Question 2, go on. Rachel.
Is it a coincidence that the skateboards are in the shape of a fish?
No, it's definitely not a coincidence. We actually, the first model we made, we actually named them after fish. So this is the minnow, and our other board is named the ahi, which is a type of tuna, which is another larger fish, and it's a wider, larger board. So we even made a hole here, just like a fisheye, so you make the full connection. Because we really want to tell you the story of where this skateboard came from. And by having it be in the shape of a fish, you can clearly make the connection that this was once a fishing net.
All right, awesome questions. Two of our classrooms joining us today are having mic issues, so at any time, feel free to type your questions into the blue chat sidebar, and I'll make sure I get to them. But for now, let's jump to Kansas. We have Mrs. Ediger's group joining us from Hutchinson, and they're a grade 4 classroom. You're good to go.
What inspired you to help Chile?
Well, I was actually living in Chile at the time when I started this project, and the opportunity came about because the Chilean government gives a lot of support for people that want to come to Chile and start new businesses. So it was really about the opportunity, and Chile gave us the opportunity to come and create this project. But we hope to start it in Chile, but then grow it to other countries. We're working in California, where we're hoping to start collecting and recycling fishing nets locally in California. We're also looking into going to Alaska, to Mexico, to Washington, because this problem is all around the world. And so we're starting in Chile because they gave us the opportunity, but eventually we'd like to create this as a solution for everyone.
All right, we'll grab another question from our class in Kansas.
Will you come to Kansas to sell skateboards?
I would love to come to Kansas to sell skateboards. I've been to Kansas before, and I really enjoyed it. I'm just so busy down here in Chile because I've got all these fishing nets to collect. But once we get them all collected and we make lots more skateboards, I would love to come to Kansas and sell them, or just, you know, share them with you guys.
All right, and don't forget, there's a way to get a couple of those boards potentially to Kansas if you guys get together and come up with the big idea. You guys take part in the challenge. So we're putting that challenge out to the teachers with the end of the year coming. It might be a great time for a project like a Genius Hour project or something to get your students thinking about making change in their community. All right. Just checking, a question came in. Actually, this one came in from Austin, Texas, when you were telling your Lego story. They want to know if you kept the Lego jacket.
Of course I kept the Lego jacket. That was priceless. I wish I had it handy. I would have to go shuffle through everything to find it. But yes, I definitely kept it. It was unforgettable.
All right. Mrs. Sinclair's class just wants to check the audio again. So I'm going to pop on the sound. All right, can you guys can hear me, but can we hear you? Doesn't sound like it, so still having the mic issues. But we do see one of your questions in the chat sidebar. So your class is joining us from Kalispell in Montana. It's a grade 4 classroom. And they were wondering, with what you do, are you happy? Is it really satisfying?
Yeah, you know, you have days where you have really tough days, you know, because we have to do everything on our own. We're creating something entirely new. So it can be very challenging and difficult. But when you step back and you look at that, you can work through your passion. Our passion is protecting the ocean, and how fun is it that we can make skateboards through protecting the ocean. It really makes you happy at the end of the day. So yes, we're very happy. And I think that's really what your work should always be about connecting something that makes you happy with things that you've studied hard and you've excelled at in school, and it can become your life's work.
I especially like how you you use your expertise, what you went to school with, combined it with some of your passions, and and look what's happened.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So Texas, I can see another question just popped in. Is Bureo for profit or not for profit?
We are a for-profit business that operates through a certified service called a benefits corporation. So we work through a shared value business model. So when we generate value for our business, we generate value for nonprofits that we work with. So for every kilo, every pound of fishing net we receive, every pound, we put money back into the community that we give to local nonprofits that then can work with the community to address other issues. So we create other projects like new recycling centers for all the different types of plastic. We give programs to give educational workshops on the environment for the local children. All these new resources that just came out of this stuff that was once a big hazardous waste in the area. So we are for profit, but we work as a shared value business.
And that is an awesome platform or an awesome framework because you know, everybody's got to make a living, but what you guys do and others through these types of frameworks is really the number one thing for corporations should be, is giving back to the community that they're a part of. So yeah, that's awesome. Mrs. Nelson's classroom, they're close to me, about 20 minutes down the road in Kitchener, Ontario. Grade 6 classroom. Your mic's on. Go ahead with some questions.
What's the biggest challenge you've faced?
Oh my goodness, that's a very good question. There are so many challenges we face. Every day is a challenge, to be honest with you. You know, coming to these fishermen and trying to talk them into giving us their old fishing nets and trying to explain them. Imagine if somebody knocked on your door of your house and said, "Hey, can we have all the waste in your trash can because we want to turn it into an airplane?" You know, you'd probably look at them pretty strange. And that's kind of what we had to experience with the fishermen, is we said, "Hey, all these old fishing nets, can we have so we can turn them into skateboards?" And they're like, "Skateboards? That's pretty strange." And it wasn't until we actually finally showed them that our commitment, our working together, that we finally made the skateboard and showed them what we could do with their material. Did you have another question?
No. Oh, you asked. Oh yeah, go.
Go ahead.
Are the sunglass lenses made from 100% fishing nets as well?
That's a very good question. Unfortunately, they do not exist yet to make lenses from fishing nets. But the lenses that we chose are 100% recyclable. So if these sunglasses ever met their end of life, you could send them back to us and we could take them apart and recycle all the parts to make new ones again.
All right. Let me check our chat sidebar, see if we have any more questions from the other two classes. All right. So don't forget, Montana and Texas, if you have questions, put them in through the chat sidebar. Before we move on, though, let's and have a discussion about maybe things in your community. If you guys want to grab one more question from your class, send someone to the camera, and I'll keep my eye out for you. Oh, we see someone already. So we do. Good. Let's jump back to our Kitchener class.
Favorite sport in Chile, and what do you like about it?
What was the first part again?
What's your favorite sport in Chile, and what do you like about Chile?
Wow, I would have to say my favorite sport in Chile is surfing.
Cool.
And it's one of the really special things about Chile is it's this long, narrow country that all has this big coastline along it. So you have nothing but coast all along the country. And with that, you have all this access to the ocean. And when you have access to the ocean like this, you've got lots of waves. So with those waves is a perfect opportunity to go surfing. But because we're so close to the Arctic, we're that close that the water is always really cold. So you have to make sure to always wear a wetsuit in the water or else you're going to freeze.
All right. I know all about that here in Canada. The Great Lakes, especially the northern ones, I like to dive. And they never quite warm up to no wetsuit weather. So, all right, Mrs. Edgar, I can see someone in Hutchinson, Kansas at the camera. Go ahead.
How many boards have you sold?
Wow. We've sold over 5,000 skateboards. So with every skateboard being 2.5 pounds of fishing net in each skateboard, you can imagine that's a lot of fishing nets that we're getting into. And the more exciting thing now is we're finding more products we can make from the fishing net plastic. And that's allowing us to grow this even more, where we can continue getting more and more fishing nets and making a bigger impact with our program.
All right, a couple questions have come in via our classrooms. Let's see. So Texas, they're wondering 2 questions. So they're still thinking about things washing up on the beach. So the scariest thing you found, and then they're wondering what the price range is on a pair of sunglasses or skate decks.
So scariest thing I found washed up from the beach?
I think so, yeah.
I once came across a sea lion that sadly was already passed away. So he must have passed away, and then the currents took him to shore. But he was huge. I mean, he was, gosh, he was as big as the couch I'm sitting on right now. I mean, it was enormous. I couldn't believe it, and it was very smelly too. Probably worth mentioning. And for the price of our skateboards and sunglasses, we try to keep them within the price range of the other products in the market. You know, around from $120 to $150, depending on the product.
Well, judging by the questions from Texas and Kansas, is you might have some orders from those locations soon. Connecticut, let me turn your microphone on and go ahead with the question. Okay, you're good.
How much energy is needed to
Once
recycle
again, lunch in the classrooms, and K through 3 will be in the gym
Really?
for recess.
How much energy is needed to recycle the discarded fishing nets?
That's a great question, and I got to say I'm really impressed by the depth that you guys are getting to with these questions. So before I started Bureo, I actually worked on measuring the energy consumption and all the different impacts and inputs and outputs it takes to make different products. So it was something that we looked at very closely, is to understand that we make sure we don't use too much energy or many resources when it comes to making our skateboard. We actually use 70% less energy than it takes to produce plastic from a virgin source, from a original source. So we use much less much less energy during our process, and also we're now working on completely offsetting our energy by installing solar panels. So by installing solar panels, we can now have a completely renewable supply of energy that's not going to be part of the problem of climate change and energy consumption from a non-renewable source.
All right. One more in Kitchener, and then maybe we'll visit the classrooms and see what they're starting to brainstorm, see if we've got any creative juices flowing. There you go. Mic's on.
Have you ever made surfboards, or are you going to make surfboards with the fishing nets?
That's a great question. That's a very good question. We get that question a lot. So a surfboard is actually made from very different types of plastic. The main part of most surfboards is styrofoam. It's an expanded polystyrene foam. So it's a very different material than what we work with, what the fish nets are made of, which is a nylon plastic. So because of that, we haven't been able to make surfboards from the fishing nets, but the fins that go on the bottom of a surfboard are made from the same plastic. So we are working on making surfboard fins from the fishing net plastic.
Okay, great questions from our classrooms joining in today. So now I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. I'm going to visit each classroom. And if you've been doing a little bit of thinking about something you could potentially do in your community or an idea you could develop, we'd love to hear some of the early stage thoughts. So Montana and Texas, feel free to type something in the chat sidebar because of the mic problems. So let's start in Connecticut. Let's see what's going on. Have you guys given any thoughts so far to something you can maybe tackle in your community?
Positiva, your question, your idea?
Oh. Now?
Yes, now.
Oh, my idea is that you make recycling bins out of the plastic.
That's a great idea. And they're actually doing that in Chile. In Chile, the Home Depot, the big stores where you're buying all the stuff for your home, have recycling bins outside of them. So you can drop off all your plastic that you're able to recycle from your home. And now in Chile, they're making those plastics into recycling bins that you can put in your own home. So that's a great idea, and there's a lot of that stuff already happening. So I think that's wonderful.
My idea is to make water bottles out of recycling stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good idea too. The important thing about water bottles is making sure, and I hope you guys have access to these, is reusable water bottles. Every time we use a water bottle and throw it away, it's a big cost to the environment. So instead, by having a bottle, maybe you could make it from recycled plastic. That's a great idea that you can reuse again and again and again. Will make a much lower impact on the environment.
All right, and I have a message from our class in Montana. It looks like they might already have a jump start. So they're saying they're working on a project to reduce the amount of plastic silverware their school uses. So they're all bringing in their own silverware, they're washing it, which is really cool. And now it looks like they're working on videos and poster ideas to spread the word and get other classes talking about it. And they may take it even further. So it sounds like you guys already have a good little start on this. So when you do see more information about the Big Idea Challenge, perhaps you can build off your idea already to contribute. So that's awesome.
Awesome to hear.
Yeah, we do something similar sometimes with our classrooms. We do boomerang lunches. So we try to keep no garbage, but if something does come back, it's boomerang back home so that you can see how much goes back home and how much waste there is. So, and then the idea is hopefully less and less comes to school each time. All right, Mrs. Ediger's classroom, your microphone's on if you guys have some ideas that you might try in your community. Or
To put, like, teach more kids to garden and then expand more gardens around Hutch.
Great. What I didn't get the Godin. What was the I didn't understand fully.
We have some nervous fourth graders, but
okay.
Yeah, we have a big Graber garden here at our school, and so we talked about expanding and teaching people how to grow their own food, just like we do here at Graber. So one idea, and then we've got another one here.
You can take the bins and put the plastic bags in them.
Put the plastic bags in the bins to have the plastic bags recycled, or
to make more bins. Yeah.
Ah, great. Yeah, more bins. That seems to be a common trend. I like it. Recycled bins.
All right.
Oh, guys, we're off mute.
Oh, is it our turn?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Guys,
Sorry. My bad.
Alright.
All right, let's hear it.
For Genius Hour, what we're doing,
We're gonna collect beer bottles, exchange it for money, and with the money we get, we're donating it to WWF.
That's awesome. Where are you guys getting beer bottles? Why does it have to be beer bottles though? Don't you guys have cans at the school and plastic bottles also? But that sounds great, guys.
But explain that we get money for every bottle.
for at the beer store, you can exchange empty beer bottles for money.
So
Awesome.
with the money we get, we're donating it to WWF.
So just beer bottles? Do they also take cans as well?
I don't know.
They take beer bottles and
Wine bottles.
Wow, that's great. So are you getting all of your families together to donate them all and how are you guys collecting it all?
We're gonna go door to door, knock and ask me for it.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I'm experienced.
But just make sure that they clearly understand it's not you guys going through all those bottles.
All right, and they do take cans, definitely, so you guys can definitely collect the cans as well. And just looking now, I think I see someone in the Connecticut classroom. Maybe they just thought of an idea. I see them up at the camera, so let's jump over there.
I had an idea where we can collect paper litter or a litter made out of paper and then burn it and then turn it into compost or fertilizer for people's gardens.
That's great. I mean, I think the burning it is interesting to take it that step. I mean, there's places, I know a lot of places that can take paper and recycle it into new paper, of course. But it's interesting that you're looking into wanting to burn it to use it compost. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with that. Yeah.
The ashes, that part.
The ashes, right. Yeah, excellent. And even thinking about the food waste that maybe from the cafeteria and how that can be a resource for compost as well.
Yeah, what I suggest you guys do on that note with the food waste and such is look up biodigesters. I hosted a hangout a little while ago with a Nat Geo explorer who's taking food waste and building do-it-yourself biodigesters, and they're really cool. So take a look and do a little research into that that resource and that way of recycling your food and getting energy. It's a really cool little project that you might be able to do as your classroom. But for now, Ben, thank you so much for an awesome hangout. Thank you for, oh, actually, sorry, I'll stop myself right there. I saw someone in Kitchener back at the, so we'll let you have the last idea.
Let's have it.
My idea was to make bins and boxes for school supplies.
Wow, we need to start a bin and box factory immediately because I think we had 3 or 4 great ideas to make bins and boxes. So I will work on this immediately. And but more importantly, for the ideas for the contest to get your very own skateboard from recycled fishing nets from Bureo, these are great ideas to start things. And really what we're looking for is how you can take it just like we did from an idea to a reality. So think of all the steps that it's going to take to not just have an idea, but get it to be something that you can actually make happen.
That's a great point. I'll outline that in the newsletter, but we just don't want the idea. We want to see that there's been some thinking behind it, the steps, and where you need to go to make it happen. And it doesn't necessarily have to be plastic related. Look at your community and look what could be important in your community where you could make a difference as well. So obviously plastics is a huge issue and really important, but there's lots of things you can tackle in your community, lots of ideas. So Ben, thank you so much. The Bureo story is awesome. I have another, oh, okay. Another idea from a classroom in Texas. They just messaged me. Tell us where this, oh, okay. When it is time to submit the ideas, we'll probably set up a Dropbox or something, a submit box, but that'll all come out in a newsletter hopefully this week. So again, Ben, thank you for an awesome hangout. What you're doing with Bureo is absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see how it grows in the future, and if you're able to scale it up and take it outside further into South America and maybe even beyond. So we look forward to more hangouts. We look forward to this contest and seeing what grows out of it.
Yeah, maybe next time we can get you guys in the fishing communities and get on site at our recycler to show you guys really hands-on the whole process. But for now, you can check us out online. I think we can provide a link to a little video BuzzFeed made on our project that you can check out more information on how we made it a reality.
Definitely. I'll make sure I get that to the classrooms after the hangout, and we'll make sure we include that in the newsletter as well for any other classrooms in the community who want to jump in on this project. All right. Well, classrooms, again, thank you so much. Ben, I know you're going to get out and enjoy what you said looks like a beautiful day there. But before we do sign off, I'll turn on the microphones and let the classrooms shout out, say goodbye, and thank you.
Yeah.
For the classrooms who mics aren't working. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. We're signing off for today.